How did London rebuild? How did London rebuild? How did London rebuild? Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out how did London rebuild after the Blitz?
If you take a look at the London County Council's bomb damage map from 1945, then you might notice this huge scar across the city from St Paul's Cathedral to what is now the Old Street roundabout. This area used to be known as Cripplegate and was the centre of London's rag trade. It had been around for basically as long as the city itself, a type
Rag trade? Wait, what?
Of London's rag trade.
Rag trade? I didn't know there was such a demand for rags. What is the rag trade? Is it literally rags? Rag trade. The clothing or fashion industry. Okay. Okay. I feel stupid. I should have known that. Rag trade.
This area used to be known as Cripplegate and was the centre of London's rag trade. It had been around for basically as long as the city itself, a tight web of narrow streets and alleyways defined by buildings dating back centuries. But this entire neighbourhood was wiped off the map by Blitz bombing raids in the early 1940s. This church, St Giles Cripplegate, was one of the only buildings left standing. This destruction left a huge tract of vacant land in the heart of London, and post-war planners and architects were ambitious about what to do with it, resulting in a massive development, the centrepiece of which is the Barbican estate, which is one of my favourite parts of the city. And
I've heard of that. I watched a video about that. Oh, y'all, this is City Ed. Be sure to like and subscribe. I want to look at these. Oh, man, look at that. Why did the Nazis go after the rag neighborhood? Did they know it was the rag trade neighborhood? The German Air Force did not specifically target London's rag trade, clothing and fashion industry neighborhood. Rather, that area was hit as part of the indiscriminate and widespread bombing campaign known as the Blitz. The main goal of the Blitz was to destroy British morale, target strategic assets, and exhaust the RAF, Royal Air Force. So it just sort of happened that way. Maybe that was like a convenient flight pattern for them.
And post-war planners and architects were ambitious about what to do with it, resulting in a massive development, the centrepiece of which is the Barbican estate, which is one of my favourite parts of the city.
Yo, show me on a map. Be sure to pick up your Show Me on a Map t-shirt and mug. Barbican Estates. There it is. There's what we were just looking at. This. Yeah. The gardens, yeah, I remember wanting to live there because of the gardens. That would be cool to be able to just walk out to.
And there are stories like this all over London, so in this video we'll explore what London did next and how you can still find evidence of the Blitz in pretty much every corner of this city.
Really? How London rebuilt Lansdowne. That's nice.
This is a pretty typical example of a sort of a London bomb site, sort of an interrupted terrace of houses. And then you have this clearly post-war building that sort of interrupts the terraces. These gap sites were among the first to be redeveloped after the war, and delivering the homes that the city desperately needed was prioritised above making them fit in with their surroundings. So when you start looking, you can spot them all over London.
I see.
And I'd always look for these kind of like party walls here, where there was obviously a building there before. It's been completely taken away. Or an obviously modern building sandwiched between older buildings. Once you know what you're looking for, you can start to see examples of this everywhere. So like here, you can tell that the terrace just kind of like abruptly ends and you get this sort of modernist apartment building. And again, here on the other corner is another 1950s example. On this street in Kennington, amazing. A bomb fell in the middle of the street, so houses on both sides were lost. Their replacements managed to blend in quite well, but it becomes easy to spot once you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask, why didn't they just rebuild these buildings as they were before? But the city was totally obliterated during the war and they just didn't have that much money. But this is really the tip of the
I was going to say, money and time, right? Like those old buildings are pretty intricate looking.
People ask, why didn't they just rebuild these buildings as they were before? But the city was totally obliterated during the war and they just didn't have that much money. But this is really the tip of the iceberg when asking how London rebuilt after the Blitz, because there were a lot of different ways that the city tackled this.
Interesting, y'all. Oh,
A
wow.
problem the city faced in this era was that because of all of the bombing and because of suburban development, inner London was in decline. So the Barbican estate was designed to make city living attractive for wealthy city workers. And they drew on brutalist philosophies to achieve this, separating pedestrians from road traffic, designing everything around green space and recreation. This lake is the centrepiece, the heart of the community.
Beautiful.
And it perfectly frames the surviving church, which is engulfed by all these new buildings in stark contrast to it being the only building here right after the war.
That's amazing. The church survived. Show me on a map. Where's that church? Cripplegate. There it is. Oh, yeah, it's right by Barbican. There it is. Oh, wow. Oh, the inside. Very simple. Very simple. The way a church should be. Piety. Oh, a little stained glass there. Beautiful. Respectable. Yes. Ward of Cripplegate. Oh, look, organ. Pipe organ. Beautiful. William Ward, founder of the City of London School for Girls. Oh, he was baptized at this church. Okay. There's some ruins. Pipe organ. A wedding? Very well sung. We don't usually hear stuff like that in churches in America. Look at that. Maybe part of it got bombed, or maybe that's like some old Roman ruins. That's so cool. I love seeing an old building in the middle of modern ones. There's something about it that just... I don't know what it is about it, but it's cool. It's neat. It's fun. Gothic church built in the Middle Ages and rebuilt after World War II. Coffee services? Wheelchair accessible. Beautiful. Okay, back to the video, y'all. Back to the video. How'd they rebuild it?
Barbican has this really unique feel because there's really nowhere else like it in London. Even the London we rebuilt after the war followed pretty much the same urban grain as had already existed for thousands of years. But the sheer scale of destruction in the Barbican area gave architects a blank slate to come up with something ambitious. Will I do a video about Barbican? Probably not. It's very oversubscribed. If you search Barbican on YouTube, you'll find plenty of videos. I don't really have anything to add to that. But I do want to do a video about brutalism in London because it's a style that I think gets a lot of hatred. Tell everyone why I like brutalism and see if anyone cares.
I kind of like brutalism. I like the simplicity of it. I like it's like a post-apocalyptic vibe of it. Can be kind of cool and interesting. And the simplicity makes it feel totally unnatural, which I think is, again, kind of cool and interesting. It feels futuristic, even though it's not. Well, relatively, I guess it is. What am I even saying anymore?
So the Blitz destroyed huge parts of the city, and while in some cases these sites were rebuilt, some were given over to local communities and became small parks and public gardens like these ones. But the bomb map shows an area of destruction in one part of southeast London where the damaged area was so enormous that after the war it was turned into a 140-acre park, and named after Jessie Burgess, an older woman who was a big supporter of the park creation project. For a bit of scale, here's Burgess Park in comparison with other London parks. This is a huge park considering it wasn't planned out before the city developed like all these other parks. There's loads of wide open space and a lake which supports wildlife. It feels unbelievable that this used to be a heavily built up area. There are still some clues that point to what was here before though, like this set of houses in the centre of the park. They used to be in the centre of this much more densely packed urban environment.
Oh, look
they
at
were
that.
the only thing left standing after the Blitz. It's now a garden which is open to the public.
That's what it used to look like. That's so many houses, and now it's just open.
But they were the only thing left standing after the Blitz.
This is a hot take, but maybe the Nazis did London a favor. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Edit that out. No, don't. Leave it.
Now a garden which is open to the public and a great cafe. There's also this chimney, which is all that's left of a lime works which used to stand here. And this war memorial is at the heart of the park, sitting alongside St George's Church, which is another lucky survivor. Park, sitting alongside lime works which used to stand here. And this war memorial is at the heart of the park, sitting alongside St George's Church, which is another lucky survivor.
Another church survived. What? Show me on a map. Wow. Yeah. It's right in the thick of it. Let's look at some photos. Yeah, wow. I love when a park is in the middle of a city and it's hard to tell you're in a city like that. In New York, of course, Central Park. In Los Angeles, we have Griffith Park. It's like there's mountains and all kinds of stuff. An observatory. Piedmont Park in Atlanta. That's what this this looks like. Piedmont Park in Atlanta. This. It really does. Very similar, like vegetation, and there's a lake there. Very similar. I saw Paul McCartney play there one time. Did I say Paul McCartney? I did. I'm leaving it. Beautiful. Beautiful park. This is.
Which is all that's left of a lime works which used to stand here. And this war memorial is at the heart of the park, sitting alongside St George's Church, which is another lucky survivor. But other London churches faced a lot more damage, like St Mary's Newington, which lost its nave in an air raid in 1941. The church tower and this entranceway are all that survived. Its post-war replacement is in a stripped neoclassical style, which steps back and allows the surviving church to stand proudly.
This is beautiful to me. I know it looks run down and stuff, but there's something beautiful about it. I don't know what else to say.
Its post-war replacement is in a stripped neoclassical style, which steps back and allows the surviving church to stand proudly. And you can still see where the internal supporting pillars are with these patches in the ground. Down the street is Christ Church, Lambeth North. It originally opened on the 4th of July 1876, exactly 100 years after the US Declaration of Independence, which was no coincidence. That's because the church's bishop, Christopher Newman Hall, fought for the abolition of slavery in America, so the spire is wrapped with these distinctive red stripes separated by stars, an intentional nod toward the US flag. And the
what?
spire itself was named Lincoln Tower after the anti-slavery president.
Cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers to y'all. Thank you. We're the same. We're the same. We're on the same team.
Much of the church was bombed in the war, but the tower remains as a defiant landmark. Its 1959 replacement is pretty typical for the era, but I can't not mention this Gaudi-esque facade. But not
Gaudi-esque? Gaudi-esque describes something in the style of Antoni Gaudi, characterized by its organic flowing forms inspired by nature, intricate details, vibrant colors, and unconventional use of curves. It often involves a blend of architectural styles like Art Nouveau and Gothic, creating whimsical and imaginative structures that stand out with their unique biomorphic shapes and colorful mosaic. Gaudi-esque. Let's look at some images. Oh, that in Barcelona, right? That's Gaudi-esque. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, I know what he means. Yeah. Kind of like I would call it Dr. Seuss, but Gaudi-esque works.
But not all bomb sites stand out like this. I've heard some people say that it's a shame that London didn't rebuild like for like after the Blitz, like Dresden or Warsaw. And while I was looking through the bomb map, I found this set of houses in Ladbroke Grove. They were completely destroyed in September 1940, leaving a gap site. But walking past, you'd never think anything had happened here. When it came time to rebuild in the 1950s, they opted to do it in a style which matched what came before. The only thing that gives it away is maybe the different colour of brick and the slightly narrower windows, and that's because there used to be 3 houses here, but when they rebuilt it after the war, they squeezed another one in, and the only way that you can tell that that's the case is because that house there is 39, that one there is 40, and this one here is 40A.
That's interesting. I will say though, that style looks like it's pretty basic, you know? Easy to replicate. He's texting me. It's my brother. Okay, he can wait. He'll understand.
This type of rebuild is actually more common than you might think, but they blend in so well that you'd barely give them a second thought. Like Walcott Square in Kennington, where several buildings were destroyed. but while their replacements do look a bit different, they've done a pretty good job at blending these in with the surrounding history.
I wouldn't even notice.
Opposite the river from Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament lies St Thomas's Hospital. There's been a hospital here for nearly 1,000 years, and it remains one of central London's largest. During the Blitz, it treated tens of thousands of people who had been injured as a result of bomb damage, until September 1940, when the hospital itself took a direct hit.
There were people in there, I bet.
St Thomas's was recognisable by its river frontage, characterised by these 6 iconic pavilions.
Very distinct.
3 of these pavilions were destroyed. The rebuild and extension of St Thomas's Hospital happened in the 1950s and 60s, in this white-clad style which soon became typical for hospitals in the post-war era. At the time, there was widespread public reaction against the scale and appearance of the new building, but now it's a pretty recognisable London landmark.
Okay.
And okay, some might say that the hospital is a downgrade architecturally compared to what was there before, but to my mind, it's unapologetically different. See, since researching for this video, I've learned that London proudly wears these scars of the Blitz, and what rose from the ashes in some cases are some of London's most recognisable buildings. Each help tell the story of the Blitz by standing in contrast to what was there before. And I think that's quintessentially London. I think London is a great city because it has all of these different styles of architecture rubbing shoulders with one another.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of what makes this city more exciting.
I agree.
Much of those varying architectural styles came from needing to rebuild after this traumatic event, which coincided with this era where architecture was undergoing a huge change as well, experimenting with modernism and brutalism and using the city as a canvas. London's exciting to me because it isn't afraid to put brutalism next to Baroque, it isn't afraid to put modernism next to neoclassical, and I think that's something that should be celebrated.
I agree. I think it's cool. I don't know why, like I said, just variation, maybe. When you see all the same type of building, it's kind of boring, no matter how beautiful it is, you know?
And you can still find bomb sites all over London that haven't been filled yet. So the story of how London rebuilt after the Blitz is still ongoing. We're all still living in it. But that's where we'll leave it for today. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. We'll continue the discussion in the comments. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
Nice. Y'all be sure to go to CityEd and like and subscribe. Let's read some comments. What do people say? As a Londoner born and bred after the war in 1951, I remember the Barbican area when it was a bomb site. My cousin and I used to ride our bikes there. Thanks for a very interesting and informative video. Hey, he's a local. The loss of architecture was tragic. This is probably my favorite urbanism channel on YouTube. Hey! My old man lived in a street where one of the first V1s fell. It exploded and killed my future mom's best friend from school. She was only 8. Mom used to tell me how she ran up the road where they had been playing. All she saw was a wall blown out of the house and her 2 little feet sticking out under it. She never forgot that. Her name was Elsie. Rest in peace, Elsie. This was interesting. Y'all be sure to go to CityEd and like and subscribe. I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.